Okay, so we are going to finish up on our learning about the other amendments. We're going to look at guaranteeing other rights for Americans. Like I said, there's only 27 amendments. We've already talked about the first 10. We're not going to talk about the remaining 17. We're going to focus on a few of them, but not all of them. So first off, we're going to look at extending civil rights. And civil rights are rights that are guaranteed to all U.S. citizens. So the first of the civil rights amendments would be the 13th Amendment. And the 13th Amendment outlawed slavery. So it is going to guarantee rights to African Americans. The 14th Amendment is also considered a civil rights amendment because it protected the rights of African Americans. It's more specific than the 13th Amendment. It gives them full citizenship. It says that they cannot be denied the equal protection of the law. So it gets a little bit more specific in that way. The next set of rights that we're going to look at, or the next set of amendments, sorry, that we're going to look at is those that extended voting rights, that gave the right to vote to more people. And a lot of them have to deal with suffrage, and suffrage is the right to vote. And basically, before these amendments were passed, it was left up to the states to decide who was going to be able to vote. And most of the states decided it was going to be white males who were over 21 who owned property. Well, that doesn't leave a whole lot of people to vote. So as we see time go on, and especially right after the Civil War, we're going to see more and more people being allowed to vote, getting that right. So the 15th Amendment allows or extends the right to vote to African Americans, that they cannot be denied because of their race or their color. The 17th Amendment is going to allow the election of U.S. senators to be by voters, which in the original Constitution, that was done by state legislatures. So as an Iowan, prior to the 17th Amendment, what I would do is I would vote for my state legislature, so my state representatives, and then my state representatives would make the decision of who's going to be our senator. So that would be a problem. And that, because they may not choose the people I would want to choose. So the 17th Amendment extends that to that election process to the citizens, to the voters. The 19th Amendment is going to expand it to women, so we double our voting population. The 23rd will give the right for the people in the District of Columbia to vote for the president and the vice president. The District of Columbia is not part of a state. It's a separate little territory. And so they had not been allowed to vote for president and vice president because according to the Constitution, they couldn't. So the 23rd Amendment gives them that right. The 24th Amendment is going to abolish poll taxes. And poll taxes are a special tax that you had to pay in order to be able to vote. And typically this was used to discriminate against the poor, and especially the poor blacks in the southern United States. And then the 26th Amendment, which was passed in 1971, is going to lower the voting age to 18. It used to be 21, so it was lowered down to 18, which is going to give younger voters more of a say. So all those rights are going to help and expand the voting abilities and election results as well. So we're going to look at citizens' duties and responsibilities of what you have to do and what you should do as a citizen. And duties are things that you have to do. There are things that you must do. And there are 5 things that you have to do as a citizen. The first is that you have to obey the law. And basically, just because you don't know the law doesn't give you a bye. You are expected to know the law. That's your job as a citizen. And so you are supposed to obey the laws. The second is to attend school. We have free public education. I mean, you still have to pay fees, but in schools elsewhere in the world, you have to pay tuitions like you would for a private school here. But public schools are free with minimal charges for book rental and that kind of thing. Pretty much I think it's almost every state now has it at 18. That is your minimum age or that you can drop out. So here in Iowa, it's 18. You can't drop out till you're 18. So you might as well just stay in school the whole rest of the time. The third is paying taxes. That you have to pay your taxes. Those taxes help pay for services provided like paving your streets and upkeeping schools and your military and all kinds of stuff. The fourth is serving in the armed forces. Now this really only applies to the gentlemen in the class, Occasionally, our government has instituted a draft, and a draft is requiring your service in the military. And so in 1980, they made it mandatory that as soon as you turn 18, young men, you register for the draft. That does not mean you join the military. It just means that if they ever use the draft, if they ever bring it back, that if your name is called, you join the military. So it's not like an automatic put you in the military kind of thing. And the fifth is appearing in court. And you do have to appear in court. You can serve as members of a jury. If your name is selected for jury duty and you do not show up or you do not contact people, you can be fined. You also have to testify as a witness if you are called as a witness. You get subpoenaed. And if you do not show, if you don't come to testify, again, you can be fined. You can serve jail time even in some cases. So those are the 5 things that you have to do. Those are the musts. Those are the duties. Then you have responsibilities as citizens. And responsibilities are things that you should do, things that are kind of expected. And the first, obviously, is voting. Every citizen should vote when you're able to, once you become old enough. Voting allows you to choose your government, to have a say. So I consider it to be one of the most important responsibilities. And the second is to be informed. Education helps. Right now, you're becoming more informed than you were 2 years ago, 5 years ago, even maybe last week. So reading newspapers helps, magazines, listening to the radio, listening to speeches, just listening to the news is going to make you better and more informed. The third is taking part in government, and not everybody has the ability to take part in government. But you can get involved in political parties. You can be involved as an independent voter, just knowing what the political parties are doing and talking about. You can serve as officials in your community. You can join your city council or get elected to your city council, or you can work on a community effort for things. The fourth is to help your community. Respecting the property of others and helping out as much as possible, being active, volunteering is another big thing. And the fifth is to respect and protect others' rights, to defend human rights when you see things being violated, to correct the wrongs that you see being done, and then also just to work to improve yourself, working hard at getting rid of your prejudices, everybody's prejudice. So, working hard to get rid of that prejudice is a big thing as well.